Welcome to the A&P. I am Alex Johansen, and my co-host is Patrick MacCallum. Hello, Patrick.
Hello, Alex. How are you getting on?
Doing great. Welcome to the A&P. Logical discussions about the state of the world. Let us talk about things, because there are many interesting things going on in both the United States and Ireland.
Oh yes, indeed. Many interesting things indeed.
So the first thing I wanted to look at was an article, RTE News. Man remains in Garda custody following knife attack in Dublin. So first we're going to have to establish what the Garda is in Ireland so that the American listeners know what the hell we're talking about when we say Garda with their yellow and blue vehicles. So go ahead and hit it. Let them know what that's all about, Mr. MacCallum.
Well, our Gardaí are our police force here in Ireland, which you probably... they're also an unarmed police force, which is probably interesting for your American listeners. We're a completely unarmed police force. Very similar to UK in a lot of aspects. Very, very similar. But so like short.
So like the Bobbies, but Irish.
Yes, pretty much like the Bobbies, yes.
They're Irish Bobbies, they are. And I'm sure they'd hate to be referred to as that.
Yes, but do not ever call them that way if you ever come over here.
That might cause some more troubles, even as far south as County Cork or up in County Mayo.
Yes, yes.
The story updated Monday, 10 February 2026, 1941 hours. Man remains in Garda custody following a knife attack in Dublin. We'll just go ahead and read the text here. A man in his 20s remains in Garda custody following a knife attack in Dublin yesterday, in which 3 men were injured. The 3 men, aged from their mid-20s to mid-40s, were attacked by the man in the Stony Batter area of the city around 3 p.m. yesterday. So tell me about Stony Batter. Where is Stony Batter in Dublin, and why is that significant?
Stony Batter is a really old part of Dublin. It's Dublin 7. We part of Mary Lou MacDonald's constituency, actually. It's not the first time that area has experienced violence, but this is the first time it's experienced just random knife attack like this. I think it's the first time I've ever read an article like this around the Dublin area for a long time. Last time we had a random attack like this was just over a year and a half ago, when there was an attack on one of our creches, not too far away from this area, where a similar type of knife attack happened.
What's a
this
creche?
time it was actually going... creches are preschool, you would call it, in the United States. Okay. So any child under the age of 5.
Got it. Okay.
So we had a couple of kids were injured, and there was a teacher really badly injured protecting the kids. But that time, it was actually a local pass. It was a local delivery driver passing managed to put a stop to it before it got any worse. So, but that also led on to the Dublin riots at the time.
What's the Dublin 7?
Dublin 7 is inner city Dublin. It's a really old part of Dublin.
And who was the representative that you called out on that one?
The representative, the local TD is Mary Lou MacDonald, the leader of the Sinn Féin party here in Ireland.
Okay, so we're going to get into Sinn Féin and Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael and all the Fiannas and Sheenas, so that we can get a handle on it. But yeah, we will walk you through American and Irish politics as we do this to help you guys be brushed up and understand what it means and how different G7 countries function slightly differently. So, all right, so the men were injured at a number of locations in the residential area, including on Oxman Road and Niall Street. Or is that Niall? N-I-A-L-L? Niall?
Yep, Niall Street, yeah.
Okay, so, and that's in Dublin 7?
That's all Dublin 7, yes. They're all streets in Dublin 7.
Okay, can you tell me anything about Oxman Town Road and Niall Street that might be significant? Or is it just a couple of roads out in the way?
Believe it or not, actually, one of my old jobs I used to actually do deliveries around that area myself.
Okay.
It's actually really, really old part of Dublin. Really old, narrow streets, really old houses. It's a really old, ancient part of Dublin, I would say.
What's the best pub in that area? I'm going to go get a pint of Guinness.
I actually have never drank there. I've passed a couple of pubs, actually. I can't remember any names off heart. Last time I was drinking in Dublin, I was up to O'Connell Street, around that area, the main centre.
Okay, and sounds like one pub on O'Connell Street, so if we get out to Dublin, we can go get a pint.
Do you know what we're going to do? We'll do a good tour of all of them. How about that?
All right, we'll do that. We'll schedule that.
And then
we'll
We'll
post that
schedule that actually for the podcast one of these days, where we do a tour of the Dublin pubs
when we're rich.
Yes, exactly.
So they sustained what have been described as slashing type injuries, knives. Funny enough, all three were taken to hospital by ambulance. 2 were described as having serious but non-life-threatening injuries, while the third person suffered a less serious injury. Okay. Let's figure that out. Okay, so third person has less injuries, the other 2. So that means that in the picture, there's a Gardaí vehicle there with the tape up and all that good stuff. A Garda spokesperson, is it Garda or Gardaí?
Gardaí.
Okay, but it's spelled Garda. Okay, so a Gardaí spokesperson said the force responded to the incident with significant resources, including unarmed Gardaí and detective Gardaí, who were supported by armed support units. I thought they were unarmed. I thought the Gardaí was unarmed.
We have armed support units, so think of it more like the way you have SWAT teams in America.
Okay.
So we have specialized armed units, especially around major cities like Dublin, Limerick, Cork. Any major population cities would have an armed response unit.
Okay.
Based in that Garda unit.
Got it. Gardaí intercepted and arrested the man close to the scene of the incident. The man is being held at Gardaí Station in Dublin under Section 4 of the Criminal Justice. What is Section 4? Do we know what Section 4 is?
It's just it's a general catch-all for when you're arrested for any violent incident in Ireland.
Okay. Gardaí believe the suspect acted alone and said they are increasing their visibility in the area to reassure the community.
Yes.
Okay.
The Gardaí normally do that when there's any kind of major disturbance.
So they put on a show of force to give the local constituency a feeling of relief, I suppose.
Yes.
Okay.
I think every police force kind of really does that all over the world, really, don't they?
It depends on which inner city you're in. All right, so anyone with information is asked to contact Bridewell Gardaí Station, the Garda confidential line as well. I'll give the confidential line number just in case somebody's listening but can't, for whatever reason, see what we're doing here. It's 1-800-666-111. Again, 1-800-666-111, or any Gardaí station. Social Democrat TD Gary Gannon described the incident as terrifying and a tragedy.
Yeah.
How did Gary Gannon vote? Do we know on some of the most recent issues, or
the Social Democrats on? Listen, they're not really part of our new. Well, they're not part of the new government as such. Yes.
Okay.
We have just had a recent election, so they're still forming up. That's the best word.
Trying to find their way.
And just get the numbers together. Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil. Looks like they're going to get a couple of independents. They're going to have it's going to be a hodgepodge of a couple of different parties in our government. That's just the way we have recently enough started doing things.
And none of them are going to be able to weigh in on the Northern Ireland issue either?
Not really. I think at the moment, this new government are more interested in fixing the housing crisis we're having at the moment. We're getting a lot of pressure from all sides to fix that issue.
Okay.
It's the number one issue that everyone is worried about in Ireland at the moment.
Does that have to do with the Brexit? So the nearest European Union country to England is Ireland, so they're just getting pushed over?
No, it's just we've had a lot of immigration into Ireland in the last 2.5, 3 years, more so.
That's interesting.
Just remember, last year we took in just shy of over 100,000 Ukrainians. Started that conflict. It's over 100,000. It doesn't sound like much in American numbers, but you have to remember, we're not a really big country either.
We're sitting on 6.5 million right now, roughly?
Yeah.
All right, we'll have Shirley, the producer, check that out.
Yeah.
Make sure we get that number correct.
Just over 6 million dollars. Checking
just over 6 million. Okay.
There. Yeah.
All right. So go ahead.
I just getting the final numbers. The government sent out different numbers for our internal immigration.
Mm-hmm.
How many people come into Ireland?
Right.
Some sources say 100,000. Some say less. Some say more. the government are not very open about it.
Why wouldn't you want to have those numbers available to the people of Ireland? Isn't that some information that would help them?
So we have 5.38 million people in the Republic of Ireland.
Okay.
And then another bit up in Northern Ireland. I think yeah. So when I talk about population numbers, I usually talk about the Republic. Mm-hmm. It's probably the best way to put it.
The Republic does not include Northern Ireland, though, correct? Because it's a portion of the UK?
It's still part of the United Kingdom, yes.
Got it. Okay. So speaking on RTE's Morning Ireland, the Dublin Central TD said, although what happened yesterday was completely random, local people had highlighted that there was tension in the area, that people didn't feel safe. I wonder how long that's been going on. All right. Here we get into some real meat on this one. You're going to like this there, Paddy.
Mm-hmm.
He also said that what he described as far-right agitators tried to use the incident to advance their own position by claiming the suspect was, in quotes, somebody who may have been in the international protection system, end quote. So first, let's figure out, what is the international protection system?
So the international protection system is anyone who comes into Ireland who claims to be a genuine refugee, either fleeing war or genocide or so on.
So they're asylum seekers. They're seeking asylum.
Basically asylum seekers.
Okay, yes. Got it. Okay.
So they're put into that catch-all system, international protection.
Right.
So they're given.
Were they given what now?
So they're given accommodation, food, everything's paid for.
So they immediately go on the dole, is what you're saying.
Well, they're technically not part of our social welfare system. If they're in international protection,
mm-hmm.
if they're genuine, if their case is found to be genuine, then they move on to the social welfare system later on.
Okay. And how do they check to see if that is that you're genuinely seeking asylum? Is there a method for that?
There's a series of interviews. They have to provide proof. There's a lot of, apparently, checks and balances. Apparently, there's a lot of checks and balances. But
and you, as a general Irish citizen, don't know what they are?
I'll be honest. With the checks and balances?
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you what the government said. There's multiple interviews, and they're evidence-based. It's their official statement. Evidence-based.
Everything is evidence-based. Well, evidently, 3 people got stabbed the fuck up, Patrick. That's pretty evident.
Yes.
With slashing wounds. 2 of them with serious injuries, 1 with some less so. Interesting. Okay. So he also said that what he described as far-right agitators. That's really, really vague. Who are the far-right agitators who are trying to use the incident to advance their own position? If there are, in fact, far-right agitators, wouldn't you have something of evidentiary value that would show that they're far-right agitators and they're attempting to advance their own position? What is who wrote this? Why are you so vague and mealy-mouthed? Grow a pair. Like, if you're going to call somebody out for some shit, call them out. Be like, Johnny down on Cornwall Street in District 7 said some shit. Right? Right? Like, he said something. You'd be like, oh, he said the thing, or he did the thing. Like, there's zero evidence for this statement.
Yeah. Well, by the way, that's RT News. You're reading right there.
And what does RTE stand for?
Is our state broadcaster.
Oh, the state broadcaster. Okay.
Yes.
So the state has a vested interest in how this specific article is written and what it says. That's interesting.
They don't. Apparently, they don't interfere with journalists.
Oh, they don't.
But
how do they get paid from the government?
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
It is fully funded, by the way, by the Irish taxpayer.
Okay, so the people of Ireland are paying people in the government to pay for RTE News, and RTE News can't even be specific about something in a highly agitated place about far-right. Oh my!
Agitators.
Really?
Agitators. That could be anyone. I remember reading, looking at a video last year. There was just last summer there was protests all over Ireland, over the asylum centres.
Okay.
And they were saying these were far-right agitators. But when I saw the videos of these far-right agitators, I'm saying in quotations, it was women with buggies and old people. How were they far-right agitators when they were worried about their own community?
Those aren't agitators, Patrick. That's not what those are.
There was people protesting. That's all they were.
Well, they have a specific concern about things that are going on in their neighborhood.
Yeah, in the end, they sent in the Gardaí to clear them out. Because apparently they were causing a disturbance.
Oh,
the word I could use.
Were they agitating? Is that what they were doing? Like a washing machine? Yeah, they were agitating?
Apparently they sent in the Gardaí to move them on.
So the state-sponsored police force pushed out the far-right agitators who were very unhappy that there were asylum stations. What are they called specifically?
Asylum centers. So they'd be like old. A lot of them are based in old hotels, old guest houses
that are paid for by the Irish taxpayer.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just making sure I had that right. Okay. He added. Hold on. Who's this? Speaking on RT's Morning Ireland, the Dublin Central TD. The Dublin Central TD is who now? Do we know who that is?
Wow. Dublin Central TD. Is that Jim O'Connell? Let me have a look here. No, it's the same guy, the Social Democrat. Gary Cannon. Yes, Social Democrats.
Mr. Gannon. Oh, yes. Mr. Gannon, we're going to talk. Yeah. We're going to talk to you, Mr. Gannon.
The Social Democrats, yeah, they're interesting party. Interesting.
He added, I actually think it's disgusting, but that is not a community that will actually be taken in by these people who try to deceive. I think the community rallied yesterday.
Okay. The community will. Oh yeah, I see here. The community will continue to rally over the weeks and months, but we obviously need to be careful of those who try to take advantage of the situation.
3 people went to the hospital.
Yeah.
When you say, I don't like people getting stabbed, that is some bullshit. I don't think that's a far-right agitator. That's somebody who's like, hey, I would like to know.
You'll be going on the naughty list over that one. Can't be doing things like that.
Oh, telling the truth. Patrick, I'm so sorry. But
yeah, I've actually never
logical discussions about the state of the world. And the state of Dublin is that 3 dudes got stabbed up with some knives, and they're in the hospital. And somebody said, I don't like it. And a TD is like, these are far-right agitators. How about, why is everybody a far-right agitator? Why can't it be that I have a specific and legitimate concern about the safety of the neighborhood in which I reside? Isn't that every Irish taxpayer's right as an Irish citizen to not get attacked when they go out of their house? Isn't that the function of government, to protect their people from these kinds of things?
Yes.
Okay, so what's up Mr. Gannon's ass that he's playing these vague bullshit games with words?
Yes, so, well, to be honest, not going to be smart when I talk about the far left in Ireland, like Social Democrats. Well, they would consider themselves far left, but left-leaning parties. They all think that if we all hold hands together and sing Kumbaya, that, I don't know, things will just work out for us.
Well, I know when I'm holding my buddy's hand and singing Kumbaya, all the bad actors don't take that time to do dumb shit. They never do it then, right?
Yeah.
Ireland, you're so insular with some of this stuff. You have to be aware that there are things out there in the world that are going to affect your populace. And
I think a lot of younger people are waking up to that fact. And I think the more that they are waking up is what's scaring a lot of these parties is they don't know how to handle the changing world that they're dealing with. Especially like the Social Democrats. Or I would say the champagne left. Where
they're going to have to put on their big girl panties and do work, son. Like, they're going to have to, right? Otherwise, people are going to suffer to the point where you're going to get a bunch of riots and stuff. Because the Irish would really rather do hard work, drink a pint, and be left alone. Right? Leave me alone. Yeah. I don't want you in my business. But if there's a function of the government that needs to be happening, you need to do that thing.
Yes.
All right. So Mr. Gannon said more visual presence of Gardaí could have prevented such an incident and called on Minister for Justice Jim O'Callaghan to introduce a proper policing strategy for the city centre. Why does
that would be all Gardaí? The problem is there's not enough Gardaí. There is not enough Gardaí.
All right.
And that's the saddest part is you're on about putting Gardaí everywhere, but we don't actually. The Gardaí don't have the numbers, and they don't have the recruitment numbers to deal with everything at the moment.
Okay, so how much does a member of the Gardaí or basic cop get paid?
By the time they're fully qualified, before tax, about 38,000. Give and take, a couple of different grants, say 1,000 here and 1,000 there for.
All right, so at $38,000, well, excuse me, euros, 38,000 euros, is that enough to have a wife or husband, kids, and buy a house and do all those things?
No.
All right, so what you're doing is you're paying
not in this present market, no. It probably was years ago. It probably was years ago. But now,
isn't that why people are saying they're so corrupt and all this and that, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of, I wouldn't say, there's a lot of corruption, I would say, in a lot of our dead bodies in Ireland. But the saddest part is, at the moment, is the young people just don't want to join the Gardaí.
Well, yeah, because they don't pay a competitive wage. If I can't buy a house, why am I going to do the job?
Yeah.
Right. I might have a bent for civil service, and I want to serve my city, county, state, whatever, parish, right? But the thing is, if you're not going to pay me a living wage that functions, and I'm going to be risking my life for my fellow citizens, because that's what you do.
Yeah.
When you put on that badge and you grab that baton or gun, wherever you are, you're protecting the public, right? There's a high calling for that, right? There are people who are sheepdogs and they protect other people, right? But if you say, I am not going to pay you enough money to live, why would they even want to do it? You're going to end up with low-end applicants, and then from those applicants, you're going to try and get the best of the worst? Come on. And then calling on someone else for a proper policing strategy is like, I know there's a problem, and I'm going to hand it off to somebody else to solve. Mr. Gannon, you're a member of the government. You fucking do something. You fucking fix yourself. You go sit down with that dude. Don't put it on somebody else's fucking plate. You don't want to eat your old fucking taters, dick. The fuck is wrong with you? Oh my God. Well, it's if we had more Gardaí, maybe if you fucking paid him, bro, maybe if you gave a motherfucker some wages he could live on, you could be cool like that and be like, yeah, we have enough Gardaí to actually protect and police these areas. District 7.
How much
Jesus Christ.
How much would say home to stage? What would be the average pay, say, for a police officer, say either sheriff or state?
If you are in a mid-range state with a mid-range pay after you get done with your field training officer, I'd say 65 grand a year. So, and in most places in the United States, that's going to be more than enough to get yourself a spouse and a house. Raise some children, take them to volleyball, right? And if in Ireland, take them to hurling practice. Oh, we're going to the hurling match in County Cork. We're going to go see it.
Actually, I just looked up the updated Garda pay here. The Garda sergeant inspectors. So once you're finished, it's 39,043 euros a year starting pay for.
Oh, that 43 euros is just like the tip. Ugh.
Yeah, that's the 43. By the way, this is before tax. Just bear this in mind. That's before any of your tax or anything else is taken out.
What? Well, hold on. They're working to protect the public, and they're getting their paycheck taxed. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yes.
So they're getting paid in tax dollars, which are then again taxed by the government.
Yes.
Wow. Bro, your government's some double dipping mugs, bro. Well,
we have a thing called a universal social. Yeah. We have a thing called a universal social charge. So no matter how little or whatever little you make, it's always taxed.
Oh, listen, Mr. Gannon also had some more things to say. Are you ready there, Patrick?
I'm not surprised. Social Democrats usually have something more to say.
These are highly densely populated areas. They have huge levels of complex needs. What does an actual residential policing strategy look like for the city centre communities? We've been crying out for this in Dublin 1, Dublin 7, crossing Dublin 2. We have incredible Garda there. Really? We need more of them. What's the plan? What do you mean, what's the plan? Aren't you a part of the government? Mr. Gannon, oh my God, bro.
No, he's elected, as I say, he's elected TD. He can go to the Taoiseach or sit down with the Minister of Justice as an elected TD. He doesn't even have to be part of. He doesn't even have to be part of the government to sit down and have a meeting with the Department of Justice.
But isn't he a
member?
member?
He can arrange a meeting. He's a member of the Dáil and he can sit down and arrange meetings with these bodies. He doesn't have to actually make a big speech on the steps or wherever he was doing this little song and dance. He can arrange all these meetings. He can sit down with he can arrange to have a meeting with the Minister of Justice. He doesn't have to be a minister. He's a minister. You know what I mean? He's a TD. He's an elected member of Dáil. You could even he could even question him in the Dáil about it if he was feeling that strongly about it. Now, well, there is one good news about Garda Pay.
Oh, what's that, bud?
After 22 years ago, it's up to 57,000.
Right. Of course.
That makes a massive difference.
Stand by. Stand by. Hey-oh. One of our producers has showed up. What's up, Elias?
Oh, pleasure.
We are in the middle of the recording, my friend. So we just talked about the RTE news thing, and we're about to get on to the Elon Musk pushes false claim. Just wanted to get your input as we go if there's something that specifically applies. We have a story here. Elon Musk pushes fake claim ex-USAID chief earned $23 million. The biggest Doge hoaxes spread on X. This story is by Connor Murray, Forbes staff. Let's see, Mr. Murray, as seen in Forbes, MSN US, MSN Ireland, MSN UK, Nature, Wiley Online Library, Yahoo News, NBC News, BMJ Open, Vox, Worldly, and more, out of Jersey City. That's right around the corner from old Elias there. Nice. So this is top line. Billionaire government efficiency chief Elon Musk has repeatedly spread baseless or false claims about the gutted U.S. agency for international development on X, USAID, including an unsupported claim that the agency was a form of money laundering that had paid celebrities millions to visit Ukraine. Key facts. Many false and misleading claims about USAID spending practices have been spread quickly on X, propped up by billionaires including Musk and Bill Ackman. Interesting. Okay. That's so everything they're finding is false? Literally everything? There's not a true thing that the Doge kids have found? Huh? Okay.
I mean, I don't even think they're making the claim that it's not truthful. What they're claiming is that that's not where the money is coming from. They're saying, well, there's no evidence that person received a paycheck. Well, we're not talking about a paycheck. We're talking about they received money well outside of the range of their job, the scope of their job. And that money was received in large sums. So they're paid, let's say, $180,000 a year. But then over the course of 3 years, they made $23 million. No one's saying where the money's coming from. We're not allowed to audit it. We're not allowed to ask questions. Just accept it for what it is. Right?
Well, no, I understand that. But if it's USAID who's issuing the money, that means it came from the American taxpayer.
Exactly.
Right. So then the American taxpayer, as we the people, should have a visual on that, right? There should be a certain kind of transparency there so we know where it came from. Okay, it came from the labor of Americans all across the country, 330 plus million of us, right? And then we should know where it goes and why it goes there. And we should support those payments. And if we don't, then they should not be being paid. But I get we have a representative democracy, but at some point, this crazy amount of money that's going on, I didn't approve for 23 million to go to this person. Did you, Elias? I don't think you did.
No, of course not.
Okay. So then you and I, as reasonable people, would like to know, hey, why did you give them the money? Why? Right.
And it's also how the money was funneled. If you take a look at the, I mean, I'll post the story to you as well so you can take a look. But if you take a look at the story from the former Federal Reserve advisor appointed by Biden, who was allegedly charged with espionage for selling U.S. secrets to China and then getting large lump sums of money back. And we know there's a lot of money being funneled into China through various means. That's going back into his pocket. So we need to be able to look at the numbers from the USAID and say, okay, that person received a paycheck of $180,000. There's a link right there. I just DM'd it to you. They're getting $180,000. So where did the other 23 million come? Oh, well, book deals and speeches and all that. Well, yeah, but who paid for them? Did we give them $10 million and then this person made $1 million? Is that a quid pro quo we can look at? And when it's so blatantly obvious, they have no choice but to address it, then someone gets arrested for espionage, right? Because that's what it is. This is the definition of spying. This is the definition of fraud. This is the definition of stealing money and assets from U.S. citizens and giving them to a foreign adversary. Like, this is the definition of treason.
Right.
And we know what the punishments for that is. Right. So unless it's blatant and in your face.
Right, here's the issue I have. Listed by Mr. Connor Murray, Forbes staff. Here's what he says as key facts. Many false and misleading claims about U.S. AID spending practices have been spread quickly on X, propped up by billionaires, including Musk and Bill Ackman. Okay, so months and months ago, the Doge thing was readily apparent to the American voting public. We knew that Elon Musk and possibly Vivek Ramaswamy were going to be part of the Doge team, right? The Department of Government Efficiency, right? But what I don't see in the key facts here is what makes him think that there was something of evidentiary value that is both false and or misleading about U.S. AID spending practices.
To me, it's how they twist the words, right? They're not. You know what I'm saying? They're saying
incomplete. But I know that it is false and misleading because, right? I mean, I took a couple of classes on writing when I was just a young feller in the American education system. God rest my soul, right? And I learned how a paragraph works. I start at the top, and in my little sentence that just defines everything else I'm going to write about. Right? We got and then I have supporting sentences that support my hypothesis, right? But this is just a statement, right? And it doesn't, I mean, it's followed up by a bunch of bullet points, right? So here we go. Is USAID a form of money laundering? And Mr. Murray, I believe is it Connor Murray? Patrick, was that the name we found? Connor Murray?
Yeah, Connor Murray.
Connor Murray. Mr. Connor fucking Murray. I don't know what his middle name is, but for right now it's fucking. Is USAID a form of money laundering? There is no evidence to suggest that USAID has engaged in money laundering. On Saturday afternoon, Musk reposted a claim on X that suggested USAID was a form of money laundering taxpayers' money into far-left organizations, adding, absolutely, though neither poster offered sources or factual information. Understanding, and I'm adding this in now, it's an ongoing investigation, right? I don't have literally every piece of information, but we're finding it out. And if he's saying that, this just looks like it's an immediate discounting of the thing. Anyway,
and we have evidence. Like the thing is he's saying here is the evidence. It's not finalized yet, but here's the evidence. When you've got, for example, the most egregious to that last statement is, well, we have tens of thousands of dollars for subscriptions that give you exclusive access to individuals in the news agencies. But that's normal. Don't worry about it. Don't ask questions.
Although Republicans have criticized the organization for alleged wasteful spending, there's no evidence that USAID was engaging in criminal behavior to support left-wing organizations. Mr. Murray, my friend, Connor fucking Murray, where is any kind of evidence from your side showing this to be not factual, or that everything that he said, because what he's saying functionally is the Doge team is lying, right? There isn't a shred of truth. There is no evidence. Who did you contact? Who did you talk to? What are your sources? Do you have sources? It doesn't even say citing a source. It's just a blanket statement, right? Musk says X. No, it's Y.
It's conjecture. Connor Murray is conjecture.
Yeah.
Connor F. Murray, conjecture. Conjecture Murray. Got it. Okay. But that all seems strange. I cut you off, Patrick. What were you going to say, bud?
I just can't get over it. This is sounds more like an opinion piece more than a fact bit. There's no facts here. I'm looking through the article here. There's
fluff, bro.
Nothing.
This is the chicks that make sure the dude can go handle the business when he gets on set. That's all this is. This is fluff.
Yeah.
To me, this information is directed at low information individuals that look at the headlines and go, well, I read the headlines and look, there's a bullet point. It says right here, the reason that there's not money laundering is because the person had a salary. And this other money, don't worry about it. The money came from somewhere else, right? Like, that's not answering the question. That's twisting the words to be.
I get it. The government tooth fairy came down and put it under a bunch of pillows for people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I want that tooth fairy. I think we all want that tooth fairy.
Oh my God. All right, so let's get on to the next one here. Did Samantha Power earn $23 million as the U.S. Agency for International Development chief? No, says Connor F. Murray. No. Just flat out no.
No.
No. just no.
Okay.
So at that point, he doesn't need to say anything else. If it's no, it's no. But if it's no, it should be no. And I spoke with X, Y, and Z people. I have all of these sources, and all these sources confer. You know, I was talking to Patrick earlier there, Elias, and what I saw was that he's pumping out an article every 2 to 3 hours. Is that what 2 to 3, 4 hours, something like that, Patrick?
I can't keep track. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So
he
Connor
seems
F. Murray,
very,
in 2 to 3 hours, was able to parse out literally everything about this story and post this as just negative feedback to whatever is going on. That doesn't feel real to me, Connor F. Murray. I'm telling you. Anyway, Musk responded to a post on X claiming former USAID chief Samantha Power earned $23 million between 2020 and 2024. So what Connor F. Murray is telling me is he has access to her W-2s or 1099s. So let me tell you, since you don't know, WD, our tax forms come functionally in two ways. One is a W-2, which indicates wages earned. Like I worked at the factory for 40 hours a week and I made $27,000 last year. It's all on my W-2, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is a 1099, like if you do contract work, like let's say you got a chippy that comes over to your house, a contractor, right? And they fix your roof, right? And so they have a 1099 for $17,000, and then they can reduce out the equipment and all of their supplies they had to use.
All their expenses, yeah.
All their expenses, right? So then they're paid at the end, say $4,800 in actual wages after having put forth all the things that they need to complete the job, right? So what he is saying here is that he has seen her tax returns for 2021 to 2025, and he knows specifically she did not earn $23 million because he just said, no, like no, right? So Power received a salary of $183,100, which would be on a W-2. All the other stuff for book deals and royalties and all that stuff would be on a 1099, right? Because it's an alternate kind of income. Royalties and things like that are also taxed that way. So while working as an administrator of USAID, according to federal records, and there's no evidence suggesting she benefited from her position to the tune of millions of dollars. How do you know that? There's no evidence.
Where'd you get the money?
He's just saying no.
No.
Oh my, grow a sack, bro. Talk to somebody. In 2020, Power disclosed royalties and sales from her books, none of which exceeded $1,000. So none of them exceeded $1,000, but her net worth is what? What's her net worth? Tell me what her net worth is, Connor F. Murray, so I know if you're bullshitting me. Bro, Patrick, this dude's just playing games with my emotions, man. He's just
well over 4 years she made, between 2020 and 2024, in 4 years she made $23 million on top of her salary.
Well, it doesn't say anywhere here that she didn't earn it. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the sad thing is, you're right. It's just an opinion piece. He doesn't have any facts to back up what he's saying here. It looks like what he did was he Googled her name, found the first few bits of information, and stuck it into an article. This just looks like what he's done.
Well, this kid's a piss poor journalist. Like, this is bullshit.
We call that lazy journalism back in the day.
I don't know, whoever's cutting this dude a check should not be cutting this dude a check. Like, he should actually be on the ground doing some real journalism. All right, so in 2020, Power disclosed royalties and sales from her books, none of which exceeded $1,000. In addition to positions in several exchange-traded funds, EFTs, and mutual funds, including some holdings with Vanguard, valued it up to $1 million. Okay, I see if you're at $183,000 over a decade or 15 years, you could generate $1 million in EFTs, and yeah, that's fine. That leaves us $22 million to find. In 2024, Power disclosed a retirement fund valued it up to $1 million. Okay, so now we're down to $21 million. Another assets held in EFTs and mutual funds. Over 4 years, some of Power's assets rose in value, but many of them were mutual funds that track broad stock market indexes, and there isn't any evidence that growth had anything to do with her job at USAID. Okay, so they're saying she wasn't doing insider trading because that didn't have anything to do with USAID. Where's the money, bro? Like, where's the money?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Where did this money come from? Yeah.
Oh, the tooth fairy, the government tooth fairy came by and just did that. All right. So, this is Elias's thing. He likes this one a lot. Did Chelsea Clinton get a big paycheck from USAID? No. Just no, Patrick. No.
Just no.
No. I'm telling you, mate. It's no.
Right.
Yeah. So if you read the next sentence or two, you'll see why it's one of my favorites, because it emphasizes the point of why these words are being twisted in the way they are.
Well, let's see how twisty Connor F. Murray gets this handled. No. Several viral posts on X claim Chelsea Clinton raked in a large $84 million sum from USAID, but the reference to Clinton actually refers to her family's Clinton Foundation. Why did the Clinton Foundation get $84 million from USAID in the first place?
Yeah.
Okay, and
keep going.
And the only Clinton-related organization that has received USAID money is the Clinton Health Alliance Access Initiative, to which USAID gave $7.5 million in 2019, according to USAspending.gov. The grant given to the Clinton Health Access Initiative was used to fund health services in Zambia between 2019 and 2021, and Chelsea Clinton receives no compensation as a board member, including during the years the grant money was used, according to IRS documents. Elias, tell me what that just said, because that sounds like just complete bullshit. Where did the $84 million go?
Right. So when you look at the Clinton Foundation, which has many offices and has many sub-organizations, the easiest way we can look at this is back all the way to the Haiti situation, where the Clinton Foundation was almost exclusively paid for rebuilding of Haiti, taking care of Haiti citizens, getting them food, getting them medical supplies, and the Clintons' relatives, I think it was Hillary's brother or uncle, one of those two, had been the #1 construction rebuilder down there. And if you look back at the history of the whole Haiti situation, you can see that even the population was like, get Hillary out of here. She's stealing the money. She's keeping her. She hasn't built anything. This has been going on for a long time. And what they do is they funnel money between NGOs and their nonprofit organizations back and forth, and that's how they get paid. So the way they get around on the taxes is they have a CO1, help me out here, CO312 with, oh wow, I'm blanking on it right now. The different labels for the nonprofit organization.
Is it a 501c?
Yes.
Thank you. 501c3 and then the 501c2, if I'm not mistaken. And one they have to report and the other one they don't. And one can be paid out privately and one cannot. And what they do is they take money from one organization, they funnel it into another, and then they can pay their people. This has been going on for quite a long time. So when they send money to this organization, say, well, that organization didn't pay Chelsea, right? That's true. That's a fact. That organization received funding for X project or product. And what happened was they took that money and then paid another organization in the Clinton Foundation, and then that organization paid her, right? So it's all about how the money is funneled and moved. Like, is there a quid pro quo? Did I get a book deal in China? Did I get a speech in the UK? Did I get this or that for my political affluence? Did I get something that allows me to extend my influence? And how did that money come into play? Did that company get $10 million and then I got $1 million? Is that related? That's how they twist these words And that's how they get around it. So by saying, well, here's a fact. This organization didn't pay Chelsea. Okay, but did she not receive money from the Clinton Foundation? Was it not under that IRS document, but a different IRS document? And that's how they play this game. That's how they get around it. So we know that tens of millions of dollars on the regular are funneled into the Clinton Foundation through various government organizations, which can be led by a specific branch. So the executive branch can come down and say, okay, ATF, we want you to work with this organization in the NSA and help take out these criminals. And here's the funding you're going to get. And here's the locals that are going to support you. That's always how it's been worked. You have these interconnecting three-letter agencies. The same thing happened here. You had a situation where an agency paid a lot of money. That money got funneled from place A to place B and then was received by people. This is the twisting of the words. And that this is a great example of how it works.
As a caveat, we don't know here at the A&P which way that money went. This was merely an example of how it can be done and how it has been evidenced to have been done with other organizations. So whatever the Clinton Foundation did, the Clinton Foundation did. But I would be kind of curious as to how much Chelsea got paid last year, and if it came from an NGO or if it came from an NPO, a 501(c)(3), or whatever other kind of entity that she got her money, right? It's worthy of an investigation, right? It's worthy of it. And I'm not saying that Chelsea Clinton is guilty of anything. I'm not. But what I'm saying is I would like to know if she has $100 million, what she did to earn $100 million, right?
It's the refusal to investigate it. This goes back to the Haiti situation back in 2010, where the money from the Clinton Foundation supposedly, because again we can't say definitively, right, paid for her wedding and her house and $10 million worth of expenses and so on and so on. And because they refused to investigate it, we can't say that that money came from U.S. aid and USAID to Haiti. We can't say that because they didn't investigate it, so we can't prove it. It's like the Hillary Clinton emails. We can't make any definitive claims, but we know she smashed a lot of emails. And we know that there was suspicious activity with embezzlement and espionage. Again, we can't say it definitively happened, but something happened there.
Right. All right. So we're going to push past the did USAID pay celebrities to visit Ukraine? Really don't care about friggin' celebrities. Okay. Did USAID fund research that caused COVID-19? No. Okay. Well, let's find out why. Connor F. Murray says no. Musk reposted an unproven claim that USAID funded research by scientific nonprofit EcoHealth Alliance that led to the creation of COVID-19. Although USAID and other government agencies have given it funds and some of EcoHealth Alliance methods are controversial, the group has previously said the viruses it studied were not similar enough to COVID-19 to have been related to the part of the pandemic. So I watched Simone Gold on Jordan Peterson talk about the SARS. And apparently COVID-19 was 70% alike to the most previous version of COVID, right? So it's a SARS virus, right? So if it's 70% equivalent, that means that it was adjusted somehow from there, right? And Simone Gold is an amazing doctor, lawyer, like full doctor, full lawyer, right? Just an amazing human. And Dr. Gold said ivermectin works because it works on something that's 70% like it, so it will work on this. And she was immediately destroyed by Fauci and that whole crew, which is disgusting. And Fauci is on record saying before he got too deep into it that wearing a mask doesn't work because masks don't work with viruses. The virus is too small. Unless you're in a full EV suit, you're going to get the virus, right? You just are. Anyway, so that is for another episode. That is meaty stuff. There's so much to get off the bone.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to cover that in the next episode, definitely.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover there. And the thing is there's more than just evidence here. We have, without even having to make any claims, we've got Congress that has made the claims that it looks like COVID-19 came from a lab in Wuhan, and others because of the documentation, the hard documentation we have from individuals like Fauci who were talking not just about chimera viruses, which are in effect the same thing. Again, that's been proven.
Gain of function,
but they were specifically talking about gain of function research and how it was being funded. So that is a huge conversation to have.
Remember
but this is what he says. This is unproven. That's not true. We have all the discussions that happen in Congress.
There was a White House press briefing where he said John Trump deal DJT was like China. It was from China.
China. It was from China. It was a big deal. It came from China. It was a virus. That's why we call it that.
You know where the Spanish flu is from?
From Spain. That's where it gets. Why we call it that. That's where it came from. It's a China virus. It's from China.
So we're gonna push past the celebrity thing.
Yeah. This is the regurgitation of the same thing. It's the evidence of corruption. Yeah.
Well, the next one is actually really important because it deals with media stuff, right? So we were talking earlier about the RTE, which is the state-funded. Go ahead, Patrick. Tell them again. RTE.
It's our state broadcaster, national state broadcaster.
Right, and the government.
We have something similar in the United States, do we? Do you have public
PBS
service stations like that?
We have PBS.
All right.
But PBS, the public broadcasting system, is functionally paid for by donors. The things that are not paid for by donors are functionally educational in nature. Like, here's how rulers work, and here's how you use a calculator, and here's Sesame Street, but a DEI version of it, which is really sickening and gross. But
Al, could you bring the mic in just a little bit closer?
Sound check 1 2. Sound check 1 2. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's better.
I just got so angry I was spitting on my microphone with John. Hold on. Connor.
We're going to get you a spit guard.
Right? Going to give me the mittens too, right?
Yeah.
Connor F. Murray. Because his new middle initial's F. Because this kid's fucked. All right. So RTE is state-sponsored media. And for you to tell me that someone who gets their paycheck from the government is not influenced by that government, it doesn't make them the fourth wall as far as government. You know what I'm saying? They're not investigating. No. They can't honestly investigate something, because if they do, they'll just lose their job. Like, the RT is not going to uncover major corruption. They're just not. You're going to need independent journalists for that. You guys need Douglas Murray to go over there and dig into that, but I think he's got bigger things on his plate right now. All right. So the next portion by Connor F. Murray is, did Politico get paid by the government? Yes. Oh, whoa. Something changed there. You see that, Patrick? Something changed. Right?
Yeah, he said yes.
There might be something of substance here. Let's go ahead and dig into what Connor F. Murray says next.
I don't think there's going to be much. Well, we'll just dig into it, but
there might be some substance here, Patrick.
Okay.
His past transgressions may all be thrown out now, because he's given us something of merit. All his years and years of digging into all these things and all the things that he must know to even say yes or no in the first place. Anyway, yes, but for subscriptions, not USAID grants. Elias, if American taxpayer money goes to a subscription that is paid for with American taxpayer dollars, was that still paid for by American taxpayer dollars?
Absolutely.
Okay, so if it was paid for by American taxpayer dollars, regardless of what you call the thing you've paid for, you spent our money, and apparently against our will? Is that what I'm smelling here?
Their claim is that they do it for the will of the people. But if you read further the article, you find out that's a little suspect. Just a little
sus. Well, let's continue on with Connor F. Murray's diatribe here. All right.
Yeah.
Yes, but for subscriptions, not USAID grants, Musk, Trump, and other right-wing figures have spread false claims that USAID gave the news outlet Politico millions of dollars, which Trump baselessly claimed was to write good stories about the Democrats. In the past few years, I have not seen a lot of negative press on most of the Democratic wing of the American government. Elias, Patrick, have you seen a lot of negativity toward the Democrats at all?
None whatsoever in this neck of the woods.
No.
Yeah, anecdotally, no.
Nothing made it over to the G7 countries over there in the EU, sir? Patrick?
No. Oh, no. We wouldn't have anything negatively said about them.
Oh, Sir Patrick of MacCallum. Got it. All right. So, where are we at? Gave news about outlet. Okay. Good stories about the Democrats suggested this could be the biggest scandal in history. But Politico never received any donations from USAID. According to the funding records on usaspending.gov and statements from the company, USAID spent $44,000 between 2023 and 2024 on subscriptions to Politico Pro, which is the news outlet, which the news outlet describes as
lot.
It's a lot. That's a lot. You can pay like $3 and get the Wall Street Journal every month, which the news outlet describes as a professional subscription. English is difficult, Patrick. A professional subscription service used by companies, organizations, and yes, some government agencies, end quote, and is targeted to specialized users in the private sector who want to track legislation, policy, and news. Subscriptions reportedly start at about $10,000. So how many?
Wow.
How many subscriptions?
Wow.
Politico said it has never received any government subsidies or grants and clarified USAID's purchase was a transaction, not funding. Conspiracies about Politico being funded by USAID spread after a, in quotes, technical error caused paychecks for political staff to be delayed earlier this week, leading some ex-users to jump to the false conclusion that USAID, which was gutted before the payroll issue, must have been funding the outlet.
Yeah.
Elias, explain that to me. That doesn't smell right. Something's rotten in the state of Denmark, bro. What?
It's like that old adage: the government's got to spend $5,000 for a hammer, $10,000 for a ladder. We're talking about exclusive access for specific politicians that we're not allowed to investigate or audit. That giving them direct access to journalists, editors, chiefs of staff for these news organizations, and funding them. And they say, well, the payments aren't that big. It's just $1 million here and $1 million there. Right, but that's still a crazy amount of money. Granted, these companies might be making even more money, and the question is, how are they getting that influence to make that kind of money? Right, we got to ask those sort of questions, and we have a right to. We pay for it. But when you look at the idea that the starting access point for these individuals is $10,000, any normal business would have been audited by the IRS immediately for paying that kind of crazy money. They'd be asking all kinds of questions. Why did you pay that salary? Why did you pay for that hammer? These are the sort of things that show that there's a disconnect between the journalism and there's a disconnect between the reality. It's the journalist's job.
Industry wouldn't pay $10,000. I can't think of $10,000 and up to $44,000.
Yeah, for private access for individuals. Yeah, for direct.
$44,000 is above the poverty line for the United States.
Way above. Oh, way above. Yeah.
So you are paying for subscriptions to a news service that is more than an individual's wage per year that is attempting to support a family. You can't
get 30-40% of the population. Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. And again, this is exclusive access. Why are they getting special news that we don't have access to? Shouldn't they get the same news information? And why is it multiple news organizations that are getting this special access to politicians? There shouldn't be special access. There should be free and fair, open access to the same information for everybody. So for them to say, well, this is not a, they're sort of sidebarring and saying this is not a bribe, this isn't a donation, right? This is a subscription. This is a service they're paying for.
They bought a thing.
If you look, correct, and if you look at the USAID's purpose of the organization, it's not to buy subscriptions. It is to help with foreign affairs and international needs. That is their job. It's not to buy subscriptions for news agencies to get exclusive access internally. It's not to funnel billions of dollars to other countries to fund different political organizations, which is what this is. Again, if you went to Cuba and you bought news information from a communist reporter, they'd say, well, it's communism, you can't do it, right? Well, okay, what's different here if it's a left-wing access? That's not what this organization is supposed to be doing.
Hey, Elias, do me a favor. Can you pull up the mission statement for the United States Agency for International Development so we can see if any of these things fall in line? Because every three-letter agency has a mission statement, right? And their mission statement should say something along the lines of what you just said. But I'd like to get the exact wording so we can say, oh, no, they needed subscriptions for between $10,000 and $44,000, if you don't mind, please. All right.
I already sent you a link for the Wikipedia, which gives the description based on the information provided by USAID.
Well, I think their main website is down, is it?
That's what I was going to say. The .gov website for them is down right now. There is some archived content, but this is, I believe this is correct. This is from USAID.gov, an old article from It says 2017 to 2020. I don't know if this is referencing an old mission statement from them, but this is on their website. Again, I'm sending you the link so you can pass it on to any subscribers or
got it. All right. So
if there's any misinformation.
The motto for USAID is from the American people. The annual budget is approximately $40 billion in appropriations. Go ahead and define for the people, Elias, what an appropriation is, so they know.
Well, it depends on how they're using it, right? Like if you appropriate something, you know what I mean? Did we appropriate that oil from that country? You know, it depends on how they're using it. Not my statement of how right? That's a little different. I do have their mission statement if you want me to read that. Again, this is from 2017 to 2020.
Go ahead, Elias.
Okay, our mission, this is the USAID.gov. This is an old article. Our mission on behalf of the American people, we promote and demonstrate democratic values abroad and advance a free, peaceful, and prosperous world in support of America's foreign policy, which means they're, an extension of the U.S. federal executive branch.
Well, under the State Department.
The U.S. agency, the State Department. The U.S. Agency for International Development leads the U.S. government's international development and disaster assistance through partnership and investments that save lives, reduce poverty, strengthen democratic governance, and help people emerge from humanitarian crises and progress beyond assistance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. So there was an add-on here by Connor F. Murray. Did USAID fund other media organizations like the BBC? That's just going to be linked in with whatever Politico thing. Yeah. It's just going to be more bullet points.
More the same.
Right. Okay. So the next one is, did USAID fund condoms in Gaza or Afghanistan? Various rumors that Doge identified millions in U.S. spending on condoms in Gaza and the Middle East have spread with no evidence. Trump Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt claimed last week USAID spent $50 million on condoms in Gaza. Leavitt may have been referring to USAID grants issued to the International Medical Corps, a group that provides aid to victims of war totaling more than $100 million, in which family planning and programming, including contraceptives, were included, which is typical for aid packages to developing countries. The Associated Press reported a representative, Buddy Carter, Republican out of Georgia, claimed in a CNN interview Thursday that USAID spent $15 million on condoms for the Taliban, echoing a claim made earlier this week by Representative Brian Mast, Republican, Florida. The Atlantic reported USAID had in the past funded condoms for Afghan citizens, not for the Taliban, which controls the Afghan government. But CNN reported the agency did not fund any condoms for the entire Middle East during the 3 previous fiscal years. Wait. That's actually specifically contradictory to what was said earlier with the International Medical Corps sending aid packages for family planning programming, which includes contraceptives. So he just said they did a thing, and then he said they didn't do a thing. Connor F. Murray, you are treading very heavily in a strange place here. But CNN reported the agency did not fund any condoms for the entire Middle East during the 3 previous fiscal years. In posts on X, Musk said the United States should not be sending U.S. taxpayer money to buy condoms for foreigners, and baselessly claimed money for contraceptives ended up in the pockets of Hamas. Because of UNRWA and because of USAID and other G7 countries that are functionally called racist if they don't send money to these things, they sent money. And the people who are in control, like the Taliban or Hamas, they're the ones that decide who gets the money because they're the agency that functionally ends up with the money, right?
Yeah, so they're in charge of They're in charge.
Right. So if you hand a company the money, the person who runs the company decides who gets the assets, right? So then whatever agency is in charge of these group of folks, whoever these group of folks might be, oh my God.
It's a twisting of the words again. They're saying here's $110 million that we have allotted. 108, I think is the exact number. $108 million we have. $108 million we have allotted for contraceptive, and we spent that much money on foreign aid. And you have evidence from Doge stating that we think $50 million went to this, right? They say, contraceptives, not condoms specifically. Only $7 million. I believe is what CNN, I sent you the article here, CNN stated went to male condoms in Gaza and 1.1 million went to female condoms in Gaza. So technically speaking, there was a 50 million for condoms, right? They're playing semantics. They're sitting there going, well, we're going to split hairs. We're going to talk about how we're going to split hairs. And this is another statement.
Muddy the waters.
Yes, and this is another statement from CNN. This is them confirming it. It is in that paragraph, in the lower end of the paragraph. In a statement to CNN on Wednesday, International Medical Corps said that it has received about $68 million from the U.S. Agency for International Development for Gaza operations since the October 7, 2023 day of Hamas major attack on Israel. So they've received an additional $68 million on top of that. And we're supposed to not suspect that right. Like W said, they're muddying the waters because they're all semantics. It was actually this much money, not condoms, just contraceptives, right? Like this is the word twisting, the word play.
All right. Did USAID fund a transgender opera and a DEI musical? No. Connor. Levitt and several viral. Oh my God. Wow. Are you kidding me? Oh. We're going to take a deep breath here. Levitt and several viral posts on X claimed USAID spent thousands on a transgender opera in Colombia. And although the government did give a grant to a Colombian university to increase transgender representation in opera, it wasn't USAID. The State Department gave $25,000 to the Universidad de los Andes in Bogota for that purpose in 2021. Similarly, the State Department, not USAID, gave $70,000 in 2022 to fund a musical in Ireland and that promoted diversity, equity, and inclusion and accessibility. Did you catch that one?
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Did you catch that?
Yeah, I just read that there. Yeah. Never heard of that musical.
Where's your equivalent of Broadway? Is it in Dublin or?
Yeah, it's Dublin. Yeah, it'd be probably the Borgosh Theatre in Dublin. Usually hosts these kind of events. 2022. Oh. Wow. Okay.
There you go. You missed it.
He has a little blue link. Yeah, he's a little blue link. Let me click on this here for a second. He has some kind of sources. Let me check this one for Ireland.
For Ireland.
Wow. Let me see the promote inclusion.
Patrick. Miss Carol Hidbaskin sends her regards. She wants my attention.
Look at it here. Where company limited. Yeah, it was it's Borgosh Theatre. Okay. I must have missed that musical.
It wasn't To Kill a Salesman, Rent, or Fiddler on the Roof, so I guess you just missed it. Maybe when they have their next showing of Oklahoma out there in Dublin, you'll catch that, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to catch so much shit for knowing the name of that many musicals. I just know I am. How do you know about all those musicals, fella? Next thing you know, people are going to be saying I'm a fella that likes fellas. This isn't a bad thing. I just don't happen to be that kind of guy. Anywho, so I'm sorry you didn't catch that, Patrick. That would have been an amazing event, I'm sure.
I'm sure it would have been highly entertaining.
Okay, were any of the controversial...
Can I interrupt 1 second? I want to send you something, and I'd like you to take... Do you want me to read it, or would you like to read it?
Well, just how long is it?
Oh, it's super. It's one sentence.
Send your traffic, sir. Bring it up. Send it.
Send.
No, well, I want you to read it. I have
state.gov. This is the About Us, state.gov. So this is the U.S. Department of State. Okay. The Office of Foreign Assistance is responsible for the supervision and overall strategic direction of foreign assistance programs administered by the U.S. State Department and U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID.
So same umbrella, same raincoat?
Basically, the U.S. Department of State determines what USAID does. They're under the umbrella of the State Department. This is their About Us on their website, the state.gov website, about U.S. Office of Foreign Assistance. So to say that they're two separate things when literally the USAID reports to the State Department, yeah, I'll let you extrapolate what that means.
Did USAID spend $6 million on tourism in Egypt? No. I say thee nay, says Connor F. Murray. USAID announced a $6 million payment to Egypt to increase educational opportunities and strengthen the livelihoods of people of North Sinai, not to fund terrorism, as the White House claimed. The White House's fact sheet links to a USAID announcement that does not mention tourism at all and was issued in 2019 during Trump's first administration. Awesome. That's awesome. What is the number one outsourced income of Egypt? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone?
Oh, no.
That'd be tourism. That'd be tourism.
Yeah, yes.
Well, they got these 3 nifty structures and like this big lion-looking thing out there. I saw pictures somewhere once.
You're talking with the pyramids in Gaza and
Gaza, Giza.
Not Gaza. Giza. There we go. Yeah, just reading the rest of that. I'm just reading the rest of the article here, and I'm.
Do not mix up Gaza and Giza. There'd be many mad Egyptians if you do that.
Oh yes.
Okay, so were any of the controversial claims of USAID spending true? Yes. USAID did provide funding for several programs that have been slammed by Republicans. USAID gave $1.5 million in 2022 to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in Serbia's workplace and business communities and increase employment opportunities for LGBTQ Serbians. The payment was slammed by Leavitt and several Republican members of Congress, including Senator Ted Cruz, Republican Texas. The White House also criticized $2 million payment to by USAID for sex changes in Guatemala, which is not true, but USAID did make a $2 million payment to strengthen trans-led organizations and gender-affirming healthcare in Guatemala, though gender-affirming care encompasses more than surgeries and is unclear what the medical care the grant was used for. All right, so there's a couple of terms here that are used incorrectly. The first one is gender-affirming care. The WPATH organization was blown up by Michael Schellenberger and he did a thing called the WPATH files, his whole group did. And they're on their 7th or 8th iteration. And gender affirming care used to be leave them alone until they figure it out. Very non-invasive. And at some point, if it turned out that they were gender identity disorder or gender dysphoria, then they would continue. Right? But it was a wait and see thing as opposed to generating a massive, just invasive surgeries and all kinds of craziness like hormones and things like that, that they could have just waited to see what happened. And the 2 groups that are most affected by the gender affirming care that goes bad are either gay or autistic or both sometimes. Right? So it's not the appropriate level of care. It's way too invasive. And Jordan Peterson actually did an interview with Michael Schellenberger on that one. And that was pretty intense. You guys should go pick that up. Make sure you post the links for those in the description. If I want to talk about it, I want somebody else to be able to see it. I don't want to just, oh, it's a thing, and then somebody's like, I can't find the thing. We'll put the links in there. You'll find them. You'll see the things I'm saying about.
Yes, we'll have a full list down below.
I'm not going to lead you wrong. So, all right. Well, this is going to go ahead and conclude our first episode here at TheA&P. Any closing statements from the producer? Elias, you got anything for me?
Nope. Just thanks for having me along.
Patrick, any issues, problems, alibi fires, anything you should know from here?
Very interesting article there. Very interesting indeed.
Right. Well,
very interesting young reporter as well.
Well, I hope Connor F. Murray has something to say in response to this if we get enough views for it to matter to the world. That would be an amazing thing.
That's true indeed.
And do not forget to click on the link, subscribe, and make sure you hit the thumbs up so you can get all of our follow-on episodes. From all of us here at TheA&P, thank you for your time. Have a wonderful evening or day, and we will talk at you soon.